Hello and welcome to True Guidance Tarot. I'm Adriana Teodoro-Dier. I'm a spiritual medium and intuitive reader. I've got a message for the water signs this week. This is for Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And we're going to do a collective reading for the element of water first, and then I will break off into the individual readings. And thank you so much for joining me. I love seeing you every week, and I love it when you share these videos and subscribe, like, comment, all the stuff, all the engagement stuff that we love to do, because it's really important to me that these messages get out, even beyond the people that are organically drawn to this channel. It's really important that these messages get shared with as many people as possible. So let's get straight to your element reading. We've got the Queen of Pentacles for the energy around you this week, and we've got the Knight of Wands for the energy around you and how you're going to react. So let me back up for a second. This is a grounded card. This card talks about being firmly planted in the earth, firmly secure, firmly stable, in a way that allows you to nurture yourself and nurture others. This card is a fire card. This is impatient. This is impulsive. This is active. It's hot. It's we're going to go and we're going to do all these things. So the short message is you're being asked to hold your ground, to be firmly planted, to take time slower, and to work on your grounding this week and nourishing yourself. You're not going to want to do that. You're impatient. This Leo fire energy has you like, let's get up, let's do everything, let's go. And you're impatient for movement. You're impatient for movement, but that's not what's being asked of you right now. Okay. We talked about last week with your diet, drinking enough water. This is still true for you. I'm like an honorary water sign, but I have to tell you that was so true for me last week, that I was not drinking enough water, and actually I felt a lot of water retention. So just remember that fire always dries us out. That drive to do too much always dries us out, and we've got an asking for nourishment here. So remember that. Okay, advice. We've got the Hermit. We've got the Knight of Swords trying to attack that poor Hermit, and we've got on the ground the Ace of Wands. Now, we said to move away from impulsive, fiery action here, and there's a reason for this. So let's talk about the story. The Hermit has a lantern, and he's got a light, and he's always searching for that higher spiritual truth. This talks about solitude. So whereas this card was talking about energy on the ground, keeping yourself grounded, this is talking about finding that solace in your spiritual quest, finding that time out to just calmly explore where your soul wants you to go. And I believe that the light in this Hermit's lantern this week is talking about heart's desire. That is our Ace of Wands. Now, it's not a developed energy like this one that is strong and roaring. This one's like a forest fire. This is just a little spark, a little ember. And that's what he's searching for. I believe this Hermit is searching for that little spark, that little piece of your heart that you've been waiting to hear from. So as you go on your spiritual journey and you're opening and you're growing and you're expanding, your heart starts opening up in different ways, and you start discovering it's like different rooms in your heart that you walk into and you're like, oh, I love this, but I also love this, and actually I also love this. And your Hermit at this point is searching for that, and we don't know what it is, actually. That's why we're searching. But something in you wants to disrupt this process, your thoughts, your impatience to have things moving. We've got two knights, the swords here and the wands here, and these are masculine. So that we want action, we want something to happen, we want a plan, we want anything but this quiet introspection, looking for that tiny piece of our heart that hasn't quite woken up and hasn't quite talked to us yet. So keep that in mind. He's blocking you from your heart's desire whenever that head jumps in and just gets too active, too loud, too aggressive. That's not the energy you're supposed to do this week. So I keep going back to, what are you supposed to do? What are you not supposed to do? And we're definitely flowing like a water sign right now. They're asking you to be grounded and nourished in your earthly body. So feed yourself well, drink enough water, take time to rest. Really nourish and love yourself, because your soul needs that body to be grounded and settled so that it can go exploring, so that it can go in that strange inner terrain, looking for that little piece of your heart. It's not lost, it's just not woken up yet. And you're going to know when you feel it. But you've got to keep these thoughts, and you've got to keep your impatience out of the way. If you find yourself running around distracted, I hope you remember this reading, because this is message from your higher self, trying to get you to align with what it wants you to do right now. Okay, let's break off into the individual readings. I know I encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, and share before. I also wanted to mention, if you'd like to support with something a little more tangible, a little more, just a little different, there's also a link to the PayPal or to Venmo in the description below. Donations are always appreciated, not necessary, but it's more important that you're here right now, receiving this message from your guides and from your higher self. So, okay, who am I reading for? They told me the cards and they don't tell me who I'm reading for. Okay, so we're reading for Scorpio. So 6 of Swords, 8 of Cups, and we've got the Queen of Cups on this side. All right, love this. This is a big healing message for you. Now, Queen of Cups is your card, Scorpios. I know that the Death card is usually associated with Scorpio, but for me, the Queen of Cups is either Scorpio or Pisces, because she's someone who's in control of her emotions. It's kind of the two aspects. Someone who's in control of her emotions is more Scorpio to me. Someone who flows with the creative energy of the collective is more Pisces, but there's elements of that in both. So you're coming home to yourself. You are coming home to yourself in a more powerful, stronger way this week, and you're reconnecting with your intuition as well as that creative side that embraces the collective. Now, those words just flew into my head. I know I was using those same words to explain, but what just came through was not from me. This is about coming home to yourself within the context of the collective and understanding that you are a force that can change and alter that collective. You see how she's got light around her? So it's like this collective is this mass, and there's this tiny, it's like this tiny rock of force that is just waiting to explode. And when that opens up, part of the collective also lights up, and that is you. However, we've got some personal issues that you're also dealing with. We've got the 6 of Swords and we've got the 8 of Cups. Both of these cards are talking about the healing process, and they're talking about moving on. They're talking about moving on in your mind and moving on the emotional, spiritual level. And what this is asking you to do is just completely release those thoughts that are making you unhappy, with your situation. And I know this sounds very simplistic, but you're reluctant to let them go. You're reluctant to let these things go and dive deep to the bottom of the ocean and see what's really down there. I learned last night that 70% of our world is ocean, and 2/3 of our body, so that's 66%, is water. So that's very similar, 66 and 70. There is a lot in this cosmic ocean, in this spiritual ocean that we haven't discovered yet, that you haven't discovered that. But you continue to sit on the surface and worry about these superficial concerns instead of diving all the way down to the bottom, where you could find that button, that wrench that you could twist, and it could change what is going to happen with the collective. So that is really your message this week. I'm always happy to see any sign coming home to themselves, and I'm really happy for you this week, because also, if you just visually look, this card is these two, speak English, Adriana. We've got purples here, we've got purples and blues here, and she's got all of that integrated into her. So this is part of your healing process. Ignoring it, letting it go, is actually part of your healing process. Releasing it so that you can dive deeper into yourself, so that you can discover deeply what's going on with you. That is part of your healing process. So you may think, well, I need to address these concerns directly. That's not what's being asked of you. You're being asked to go under it, to go beneath it, to go down into those darker places, because You have the light. You have the ability to bring that light back up. And you're in control of that. And you're the master of this environment. You're the master of these emotions. Okay, so is that... No, they're saying there's one more thing. Do not underestimate your power. When you are using your power on the surface, it's like a car. When you teach someone how to drive a stick shift, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, and it kind of starts and stops, that's what happens with your, it's like the circuit's overloaded. You have so much power, and when you stay on the surface, you actually trip yourself up. The circuit can't flow, and it actually kind of breaks because the power is not going to the right place. That's the best I can do. There's just so much energy that wants to flow through, and you're giving it just a tiny little path, and that's why it's tripped up. That's why they're asking you to dive deeper into that unknown. Okay, is that... Yep, okay. They're saying that wrapped it up. So are we doing Pisces or Cancer next? We are doing Cancer next. Thank you for your patience, Pisces. We will get to you. Okay, top 4. Okay, Cancers. All right. We've got the Fool. We've got the Justice card. We've got the 4 of Swords, and we've got the 7 of Wands. This is kind of a putting the brakes on. This is a bit of a, I don't want to say it's a warning because I don't want to alarm you, but you're going to want to rush too quickly into something. There's a little bit too much impulsivity going on with you. And I know we talked about the Knight of Wands, and I said to beware of that desire, that drive for action, a little too foolhardy. So you're going to try to make a choice. You're going to try to rush forward, and you're hopefully going to be met with a force either inside of you or outside of you that's going to make you say, wait a second, is this really a good idea? Let's think about this logically. Let's look at the consequences of this. You're going to be so caught up in that emotional flow of, yeah, but I'm in the moment. Let's do it. Let's do it. I've got to do this. I really hope this cautionary thing, I hope you're listening. That's all I'm saying. Because you need to step back and look at this. Because if you don't, you've got the 7 of Wands here. You're going to have to defend yourself. It's putting you in an antagonistic kind of situation. So either a loss of money, a loss of energy, loss of prestige. It just is setting you up for something that could have been avoided had you been a little more careful and calculated. So when you get that impulse to act, you really need to stop and think about it. You need to make yourself stop and look at the consequences of it and what could potentially happen. What are the good things? What are the bad things? But mostly, like, what are the risks? What are the negative things? I'm feeling with these 2 cards that we're also talking about morality or the law. So if you're being pushed to do something that's a little bit risky with the law, I mean, I don't want to give you a morality judgment, but if you do this, you are going to end up with a figure representative of this. Meaning you're going to end up in court, you're going to end up in front of a police officer, and they're there to protect you from yourself. So this is not like, don't do something bad because it's bad or you're a bad person. No, it's none of that. It's talking about the way the universe is trying to protect you from yourself when you move too fast into something. So a speeding ticket's not always a bad thing because speeding is not safe. It's dangerous. So when you get a speeding ticket, that's actually a guide or a guardian saying, hey, slow down because you're going to put yourself and other people in danger. So that's your challenge this week, is to see if you can be your own policeman. See if you can be your own court of law. See if you can look at things objectively before you actually get yourself into the situation. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Pisces, 5 cards for you. Okay, top 4 and middle 1. A little bit of a mixed bag for you this week. Okay, let me get these guys in order. Okay, we've got a 10 of Swords, the 5 of Cups, the Judgment card, the Sun, and the Eight of Swords. So the basic message is you are still beating yourself up for something that happened in the past and something that is done. Okay? So the thing that happened, you're really regretting that it happened. You're feeling like you made a mistake. You're feeling like you were in the wrong, and you're really sad and you're kind of upset with yourself for having done this. And these cards are asking you to move on, to see if you can look at this a little differently. See if you can look at it a little more objectively. What were you supposed to learn about this situation, and have you learned? And if you are able to do that, you actually become victorious with the Sun. Okay, now what does that mean? So if you're able to learn the lesson, if you take what you did and you learn from it and you don't repeat it and you do it again, you're guaranteed success. But what I'm worried about is this Eight of Swords here for you, because you're continuing to beat yourself up for this stuff that happened in the past. You continue to beat yourself up for the mistake, and you're not allowing yourself to see the lesson or the growth in it. You're not allowing yourself to be healed from it. But it's more than just healed. It's like you want to see yourself as the mistake. You want to see yourself as the victim. You want to see yourself as it was your fault, and you want to just keep hitting yourself over the head about it. And it's not light. It's not like heavy. You haven't dug yourself into a pit that you can't get out of. But it's these little thoughts that are preventing you from really understanding what you were supposed to learn. And why do I keep going back to what you were supposed to learn? Because knowledge is power. And knowing that, learning the lesson sets you up for a more powerful future where you will be assured of victory. I mean, look how bright this card is. And the thing is that the mistake was there for you to learn. And because it was there, you are victorious. Because you did get through it, you are victorious. But you have to be willing to let this go, to be okay with having made the mistake, but being okay with learning from it, and being okay with the idea that it was there for a reason. What's interesting though is because your lack of judgment about it, your lack of clear head, you're actually sliding backwards. So this card is 20, this card is 19. Usually it goes the Sun into judgment. That's the order of the tarot cards. But because you're not seeing this thing objectively and you're not looking at it clearly, you're sliding backwards a little bit, and it's your thoughts doing this to you. So it's really important that you drop the emotionality, you drop the thoughts, you drop all those things, and you look for the lesson. So I know that's easier said than done because you're kind of lost in the emotions right now, but this is where your soul is asking you to go. Okay? Drop the disappointment, drop the regret, drop the sadness, because there's something bigger going on. That's the other thing, is that all these little cards here, these are the minor arcana cards. These are major. So we're talking about major life benefit with these cards. So there's a huge life-changing direction you could choose to go, but you're like getting stuck in the little things. Okay? So thanks for sticking with me. Like I said, I love seeing you every week, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and have a good one.